everyone. I hope you're all doing great. Yes, this video is in English. It's been so long since I've done a video in English. The MBTI personality test is something that I'm really passionate about. But as you know, making English videos means subtitles, and you know how long that takes me. But I couldn't see myself doing this video in French, so here we are. I've been wanting to do this video for a while because people who know me know how much I love the MBTI personality test. I find it so interesting. I actually have a list on my phone of all my friends with their MBTI next to it. And when I'm meeting someone new, I'm like, what's your MBTI? Because I feel like it's so significant of who you are. And I see myself so much in an INFJ, and it taught me so much about myself. I feel like when you're meeting someone new and you discover their MBTI, you can know a lot about them through it. Not just your MBTI, you're so much more than that, but I always find it really interesting. What I'm going to talk about in this video, what are the MBTI personalities? So there are 16 of them, so I'm going to tell you about those 16 personalities, but also about the 4 core letters and their opposites and what they mean, and of course about the cognitive functions. It seems all very messy, but don't worry, I hope at the end of this video you'll understand it better. And also I will be retaking the test at the end of this video. I like to do it every so often, just to make sure I'm still an INFJ. First time I took it, it was, I think, in 2018. That's when I bought my INFJ handbook from Glenn Miller. That really helped me, understand more my personality and how to use my strength, work on my weaknesses, and use them with work relationship, personal relationship, family. It was really interesting for me to get to know more about myself. And I advise everyone to do it and get to know themselves more. First of all, what you should know about the MBTI personalities is there are 16 of them who are separated in 4 categories. So first you have the category of the explorers, then you have the diplomats, which I am in, then you have the sentinels, and finally you have the analysts. Those are the 4 main categories. So as you can see, there are 4 letters. So let's first talk about the first letter being extrovert or introvert. An extroverted person is going to be someone who's going to gain energy from being with others, whereas an introverted person is going to gain energy by being alone. An extrovert is going to speak to clarify his thoughts, whether an introvert is going to think to clarify his thoughts. An extroverted person seems easy to get to know, whereas an introverted person is often seen as hard to know. An extrovert is often going to have a lot of relationships and is going to prefer to work with others and to have a lot of interactions, whereas an introvert prefers working alone, prefers concentration, and has often very few close friends. Then for the sensing and the intuition. What makes you more one than the other is that, for example, people with a high intuition are going to make decisions relying on patterns, whether people with the sensing are going to make decisions relying on their senses. People with a high percentage of intuition are going to be a lot focused about their past or about their future, whereas people with sensing are going to be really present in the now. People with high intuition are going to be seen as abstract thinkers, really creative, idealistic, really big picture kind of person, whereas people with a high sensing percentage are going to be practical, factual, really concrete thinkers. Going to be really realistic, really notice details. Then what separates the thinking people from the feeling people? The thinkers decide with their heads, whereas the feelers decide with their heart. Thinkers are going to be very logical, very critical. They give priority to truth. They're driven by their thoughts. They're really rational. They're not often upset by others, and they can be seen as a little bit of impersonal people, whereas feelers are really driven by their emotions, are often empaths. They're very passionate. They tend to take things a bit personally. Obviously, they always give priority to their relationships and to their feelings. And then the final core is either perceiving or judging. Perceiving people are more messy, disorganized. They start things without finishing them. They procrastinate, but they can also be very flexible, relaxed, spontaneous. They always keep their options open. Whereas judging people are often known for being organization freaks. They're not very flexible. They like things being structured. They like to control everything, to stick to their plan, and to organize things before doing them, plan everything out. They also tend to be very responsible people. Then again, you're never 100% one. There's always a bit of the other in you. You can be flexible but like being organized, and you can be a feeler but still think and trying to be logic and not always rely on emotions. Not just completely one and not the other. It's a balance depending on your percentage. So those are the 4 main cores that kind of make you who you are. But then more specifically, there's the cognitive functions who actually tell more about you and which function is more introverted or extroverted. What I mean is that your sensing, intuition, feeling, and thinking functions can either be extroverted, which means, they're out there, or introverted, who are more kept to yourself. And it's not because you're an I personality that all your cognitive functions are going to be introverted. And it's not because you're an E personality that all your cognitive functions are going to be extroverted. It's actually a mix of all those things. For example, if you're an extroverted feeler, FE, it means that you show your emotions, you express them. Your emotions are visible. And extroverted feeler tend to be more empathetic and understand and feel others' feelings. Whereas introverted feelers, so FI, keep their emotions to themselves. They don't really express them. They try to deal with whatever problem they have inwardly. And when they do express them, it's more with actions rather than words. Next, we have extroverted intuition, so NE. These people tend to brainstorm and to think aloud. They like to explore all options without going to a conclusion. And people often believe they're random and odd in their thinking process. Then you have the introverted intuition, NI. These people like to focus on one idea at a time and finishing each at a time, which makes them more confident in their decision making. And they like to use concrete facts for what is happening. Then we have extroverted sensing, so SE. These people are going to be the popular, the trendy ones. They like to try new experiences, they love the thrill of it, and they're going to rely on their 5 senses. Whereas on the opposite, we have introverted sensing. These people, on the other hand, crave routine. They have a predictable lifestyle. They're rarely in the moment. Their head is always either the past or they're in the future. And they tend to be very accustomed to the old ways of doing things, to the traditional way of doing things. And then we have the thinking function. So it can either be extroverted, TE. These people tend to express their opinions, to be a bit judging. Everything is really clear. Their decision making, their opinions, the goals that they fix for themselves, which means they usually get annoyed when things don't go as planned. Then there's introverted thinkers. Most of the time, these people keep their feelings and their judgments to themselves. They prefer working with ideas rather than working with facts. They always have a logical approach to things, and they tend to be a bit skeptical, and they're never really sure in their decision making. So those are the 8 cognitive functions. And when you mix all of those, that's how you get your personality. For example, INFJ are going to have a very strong introverted intuition, and then an extroverted feeling, followed by an introverted thinking, and then finally the extroverted sensing. So depending on the order of those cognitive functions and whether they're introverted or extroverted, that's how you can determine what's your personality. Then again, I want to remember that it's not always 100% accurate. I do find myself in the 4 core letters. However, I don't agree with all the cognitive functions of an INFJ. The introverted intuition and the extroverted feeling, I totally agree with. However, I feel like I'm more an introverted sensing rather than an extroverted sensing, and I feel like I have more of an extroverted thinking rather than an introverted thinking. So sometimes I feel like it's not completely accurate. And finally, I'm going to talk a bit more about INFJs being my personality. I feel like I can talk best about it because that's what I am. When I say we're one of the rarest personality types because we represent less than 2% of the population, 2% of men and 1% of women, so I am really rare. The strength of an INFJ is going to be its creativity, its insightfulness, decisiveness. We're really altruistic people. We like when there's peace. We're really empathetic. We can really feel other people's feelings. We tend to be very determined and passionate, and apparently we're inspiring and convincing. I don't know if I'm an inspiring person. I'd have to ask my friends. And our weaknesses is that we're very sensitive, and for people who are empaths, it's hard because we're sensitive to what people say, and we're also sensitive to what people don't say, but you know, project. We feel everything, and we're really private people because we're so often misunderstood. That's the worst feeling for us, is being judged and misunderstood for what we feel and what we think. So we tend to keep everything to ourselves to protect ourselves, to not get hurt. And with being so sensitive makes us burn out easily, and we're also perfectionists. So we put so much pressure on ourselves, but also on the goals that we put to ourselves. We need to lay down a little, like take a chill pill, INFJs. I'm a proud INFJ. It's not easy every day, and we're a really destructive personality. We hurt ourselves a lot. It's not easy at all, but I'm still proud of being an INFJ. I've been dating recently, and I've always tried to figure out people's MBTI. Apparently, the perfect pairing for an INFJ would be an ENFP or an ENTP, I think, which in my opinion doesn't look like something I would want, because I feel like I want more of an introverted person rather than extroverted, because I dated an extrovert and that didn't go well at all. Then again, he was like a 92% extroverted and I was like a 92% introvert, so it really didn't work at all. But yeah, I feel like I'm looking more for an introverted personality. I definitely need a feeler. I want someone with emotions. I don't want to be with a fucking stone, you know? And I need him to understand my feelings. So I think I definitely need an F and a J. I think I need a J because I don't want someone to be messy and disorganized. I want someone to be as organized as I am. So F and J seem really important for me when looking for someone. The N or the S, he can be either sensing, either intuition. I think it doesn't really matter to me. But like in my dream personality would be an IXFJ. So it can either be an ISFJ or an INFJ. I don't know how I would be dating someone like me. It would be it would be awful. I think it would be destructive as fuck. I would really like to know what is your MBTI personality, so comment below your personality. Really, I'm so interested in that, and please let me know if you felt like you definitely related to your personality, if you felt it was accurate, or on the other hand, you felt like this was not you, and if it taught you some things about yourself. I really want to know more about this. I hope you like this video, and I'm going to take the test again and see if I still have the same results. I've changed a lot and I've worked a lot on myself lately, so maybe I'll change, but I don't think so. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, comment below your MBTI personality. See you next time, you guys. Bye.